Sawadee ka. I'm Rachel Wu and you're watching World in Brief here on In Channel. Let's take a look at the world headlines. An earthquake with a magnitude of 7 centered off Peru's sparsely populated southwestern coast, but only minor damage and light injuries were reported in this incident. Meanwhile, rescuers struggled to help thousands of people injured and left homeless after their houses collapsed in a major earthquake in southwestern Pakistan. Now, the death toll has risen to 285 people. The earth moved with. They are concerned the snow and rain that fell over the weekend could cause some rivers to flood, as has happened in the past. The National Tourism Office says the. Now, speaking about the global arms trade, the Russia Arms Expo 2013 opened yesterday in the city of Nizhny Tagil, attracting exhibits from nearly 100 military enterprises from across the world. Over 400 military enterprises. Its members and supporters have frequently been suspected of carrying out violent attacks, mainly against immigrants. The party had appeared to grow bolder in recent weeks, with alleged actions taking on a more political rather than racist hue. Earlier this month, party supporters were accused of attacking the Communist Party. Moving on to more world headlines, the United States has joined more than 90 other nations in signing a treaty that regulates global arms trade. Now, this does come amidst accusations that the Syrian government used chemical weapons on their own people. Secretary of State John Kerry signed the pact yesterday on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. For people with little time on their hands, online shopping is a quick and easy way to replenish empty kitchen cupboards. It's already proved to be a hit around the world, and now one enterprising company in Indonesia has found a way to harness the web and deliver the freshest possible produce.
Asrinin Daferaldi is part of Indonesia's growing middle class. The 25-year-old and her husband work full-time for a
Well, thank you for those updates. Well, that wraps up this edition of World in Brief, but do stay tuned for local headlines live at 11 a.m. I'm Rachel Wu. Sawadee ka. Sawadee ka. I'm Rachel Wu and you're watching World in Brief. Shiite neighborhoods of Baghdad yesterday morning, at least 51 people were killed and dozens were wounded in this string of cases, one of the deadliest of the day. And moving on, President Nicolas Maduro said yesterday that his government was expelling the top U.S. diplomat in Venezuela and 2 other embassy employees for allegedly cache of weapons and ammunition yesterday from the country's Sabaneta prison, where at least 15 people were killed during clashes between inmates earlier this month. Japanese naval ships docked in Myanmar yesterday for the first time since the Second World War, and they were welcomed by the Japanese community. Moving on, graffiti is a fairly new phenomenon in Cambodia, having been brought to the country by travelers just a few years ago. But now a new generation of local street artists are picking up spray cans and creating all sorts of images. Let's take a look. Graffiti is growing in Cambodia. It's popped up in many. And now moving on to more headlines. Protesters gathered in several countries around the world yesterday in solidarity with Russia's embattled gay community. Now, the kissing demonstrations called to Russia with love occurred in over 50 cities, according to. And we do have more from Russia. Polls in Moscow's first mayoral election in a decade closed yesterday, and some polling stations delayed counting for over 2 hours. And we are headed for a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some more world headlines. Do stay tuned. Sawadee ka. I'm Rachel Wu and you're watching World in Brief here on In Channel. Let's take a look at the world headlines. Now, a tense calm returned yesterday to a Myanmar town that was ripped apart by sectarian violence, leaving hundreds homeless. Now, this is after a Buddhist mob tore through the town, setting Muslim-owned houses and stores up in flames. The riot in Hatan Gon village, 16 kilometers south. Welcome back to World in Brief. Let's continue on with the world headlines. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said yesterday that he condemned an alleged sniper attack on a UN investigation team outside. We also need that drone technology here in Thailand to deal with the dengue fever outbreaks as well. But now moving on, the Serbian president was greeted. Wildfires in Yosemite National Park rained ash on the reservoir that is a chief source of San Francisco's famously pure drinking water. Officials yesterday scrambled to send more water toward the metropolitan area before it becomes tainted. Nearly 3,700 firefighters battled the approximately 600 square kilometer blaze, the biggest wildfire on record in California's Sierra Nevada. They reported modest progress, saying the fire was 15% contained. The female giant panda Tian Tian has been placed on 24-hour watch after Edinburgh Zoo said she may actually be pregnant, and this is after she received some hormone tests. The panda will be constantly monitored, and the zoo's team of panda keepers will have access to closed-circuit television footage in their homes to look for signs of labor, such as restless behavior and bleating.